Hi, my name is J Ordoobadi, and I'm a general surgery resident at Brigham and Women's Hospital. On behalf of my co-authors, I wanted to thank you for your interest in our paper. Our Level 1 Trauma Center, like many others across the country, cares for a high volume of patients who are transferred from another state to receive care. As a resident on the trauma service, I've often noticed that it can be more difficult to set up a safe post-acute care plan for patients who are living in a different state. And I suspected that this often led to prolonged length of stay for these patients. I also wondered whether this might be a national phenomenon, something that's happening in other Level 1 trauma centers across the country. So to test the hypothesis that patients who are treated in an out-of-state Level 1 trauma center have prolonged length of stay, we used data from the Healthcare Cost and Utilization Project's state inpatient databases for 13 U.S. states. We identified all adult patients with a non-superficial injury diagnosis who received care at a Level 1 trauma center. And we studied differences in length of stay between patients treated at an in-state Level 1 trauma center compared to an out-of-state Level 1 trauma center using a mixed effects negative binomial regression to control for potential confounding. On our unadjusted results, we found that patients who were treated at an out-of-state Level 1 trauma center had a 1.3 day longer length of stay compared to patients who were treated at an in-state Level 1 trauma center. After controlling for potential confounding using our regression model, we found that patients treated at an out-of-state Level 1 trauma center had an 11% longer length of stay compared to patients treated in an in-state trauma center. And on additional analyses, we found that potential explanations for the prolonged length of stay for out-of-state patients included difficulty arranging post-acute rehabilitation care for patients in a different state, as well as limitations or delays in receiving insurance coverage for out-of-state care, particularly among those who have Medicaid insurance. Our study has really important implications for Level 1 trauma centers, particularly those that care for a high volume of patients from a different state. Level 1 trauma centers across the country are facing increasing capacity challenges, and that's really limiting their ability to take on additional patients who require the high-level care that can only be delivered by a Level 1 trauma center. One potential solution for the problem of prolonged length of stay for patients who are coming from a different state is the idea of repatriation, which is when a patient is transferred from the higher level hospital to a lower level trauma center that is closer to their home. In addition to addressing capacity shortages at Level 1 trauma centers and helping to balance the load between different levels of trauma centers, repatriation also has benefits for patients and their families, allowing patients to receive care closer to home and reducing the travel burden on families to be able to visit their loved ones. I'd like to thank you again for your interest in our manuscript, and we'd be happy to answer any questions via email.